And we're back, folks.
All right.
That was kind of a weird thing we were jumping into.
So what's the next topic of discussion?
So I want to talk about, where do we start? Let's start with Wisconsin.
Okay.
Okay, and here's the thing about Wisconsin that is very, very unique. Do you see something wrong with this graph?
Not really, no.
Beep.
Exactly. Okay.
Oh, that, yeah.
So the top line represents Donald Trump. Okay, they start off even. Donald Trump starts taking the lead. Okay, he's going by tens of thousands of votes at this time. Biden's way underneath, and suddenly there is a vertical line going straight upwards.
So
is there an explanation for this?
Yes. So Wisconsin is actually one of the few states I'm actually on board with the conspiracy. Okay, because Wisconsin is the state. Correct me if I'm wrong. Where a water pipe burst in the ballot room and destroyed.
That was actually Georgia that had the water pipe.
That was Georgia. Well, see, then never mind. Then I'm on board with Georgia, then not Wisconsin.
No, I'm going to get to the problem with Wisconsin here in a second, okay?
You know what? Look, it's...
Well, Georgia had that, right, where the pipe burst.
Georgia had the pipe burst. Okay.
And then I was like, well, why are you keeping the ballots in the bathroom? like,
I mean, that's a whole different set of questions.
A pipe bursting shouldn't be.
Yeah. Then something like that, if it's that detrimental, then that does kind of trigger like something in this close of a race. But at the end, it wasn't that close.
What, Georgia?
I mean, no, not Georgia. I mean the whole thing. Let me put it to you this way: if at the end of the day, this is the way I think it should be done. Finish the count. Okay, because not all the states are actually done counting yet.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
They've just been called by the Associated Press. Finish the count. And at the end of the day, we'll say Georgia, if Georgia would have actually made the difference between who won, then we need to look into it further, possibly even look into doing a whole new election just in Georgia.
Yes.
But if it wasn't going to make a difference one way or the other, then who cares?
Yeah.
I mean, who cares to the point of, let's not make a huge deal about, we're going to do a whole new election and all this other shit, because it doesn't matter who won still would have won. Now, we need to look into, was that real? Was it on purpose? That probably should still get looked into. But as a whole, it no longer matters.
Okay. Pennsylvania.
Okay, Pennsylvania.
Okay, what about Pennsylvania?
I don't know what happened in Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania had something unique happen. Okay, now I heard this. I wasn't able to verify it, so I mean, feel free to fact check me and
fact check
DTP@USA.com if there's actually explanation or you can't find any truth to this. There were 200,000 ballots counted where they didn't bother filling out the rest of the ballot.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got people who are opening their ballots, filling in for president, and they don't care about their property taxes.
Yes.
They don't care about their Senate race. They don't care about their local state races. They don't care about their mayor, their county supervisors, none of that.
Okay, I'm going to come off, I'm actually going to come off as the liberal in this conversation. I buy that 100%. I really do.
You think it happened 200,000 times?
Actually, how many voters do you have in Pennsylvania?
I get a lot, because they have 20 electoral votes.
Okay, I know, that's what I'm saying. How many, I'd be curious to see that. Look that up. How many voters, what's the population of the state of Pennsylvania?
Okay. It has to be a few million.
It's got to be for 20 electoral votes.
Yeah.
You think we'd have looked this shit up beforehand? When you have that many people, 200,000 isn't that many. Mm-hmm. That's like...
You said in Pennsylvania?
Pennsylvania.
12.8 million.
12.8 million. Okay. So 200,000 is less than 20... I'm not thinking of math.
It's pretty low.
That's pretty low. That's like 2%?
Yeah.
That's like 2% of the population.
Because a million would be 10%.
Okay, so. Thank you. I'm really that bad at math, folks.
1.2 million would be 10%.
Okay, so 200,000 votes is less than 2% of the population. Now, you figure that, let's say, roughly...
What, 60% that actually is registered to vote?
60% registered to vote?
That are eligible?
Okay, fine. So 60% registered to vote, now you're talking about 7 million?
Okay.
7 million votes. Now you're talking about 4% of the population? Of the voting population?
But still, 200,000 times?
4% is nothing.
But here's the thing.
Look at it from when we talk about COVID. Sorry.
It's okay.
They're going to be Marissa okay. Gets like she's afraid she's going to get hit or something. Look at when we talk about the COVID numbers. We use the numbers and then we sit there and talk about how, well, yeah, but if you look at the percentage, It's actually really low. You got to do the same thing here and look at it the same way. When you say 200,000, holy shit, that's a big number. But then when you say it's 4% of the population,
yeah.
I could see it, but I don't. Like, I just don't see somebody not caring about the rest of their ballot.
I totally see that.
Times.
Okay, now look at it this way. Look at 4% of the population. All right, you got 4% of the population. You're saying voted just on the president, didn't give a shit about anything else. Okay, how many of those, off the top of your head, do you think were first-time voters?
Oh, I don't know. Probably
just turned 18. Do you think an 18-year-old gives a shit about property tax?
No, maybe not, but still.
You think an 18-year-old...
I could see it...
Even, no offense to teenagers in the room, you think a teenager even knows of what else is on the ballot?
I just think it's heavy still. Like, I can see it happening. Heavy. If someone said it happened 20,000 times, I'd be like, eh. No. But here's the thing. When you take the totality of it, right? So you take this and you can say, you can make your argument and be completely right. You're like, hey, there's 200,000 people, there are 5 million voters or whatever that just don't care. Okay, fine. Okay, I could buy that because you're right. It's a very small percentage and the big picture doesn't matter. But then when you take things like ballot harvesting and putting it in the big picture.
Okay.
You know, where you do have groups of people, you mail out your ballots because Democrats for months have been talking about mail-in voting.
Yep.
Okay, and for months Republicans have been saying you can't do that or we shouldn't do that because voter fraud. Okay, we're worried about our votes getting counted. Right? So they were saying go vote in person because we want Republican votes to be counted. We didn't trust the mail-in system.
Sure.
On top of that, the U.S. Postal Service was not going to be ready for an influx of that kind of right. They weren't prepared for that, and there's a lot of scandals coming out about that right now.
True.
Okay, and we'll dive into that maybe next week or something. But okay, so those were the arguments. They're saying, look, it opens up for fraud. Okay, you really don't see or know who's voting because you're just getting a piece of mail and counting it.
Okay.
Okay. There's nothing to compare signatures to.
True.
Because you're just throwing it in a machine.
Oh yeah, the signature thing is bullshit. The signature thing, you can literally, like, so I wouldn't do this, but I've always wanted to, just as an experiment, literally sign my name as Daffy Duck.
Just to see if your vote.
Just to see if it gets through and counted.
So and then you take all that and then you look at like what Project Veritas is doing. Okay, now Project Veritas, we were just having this conversation before we came on. They do go to the extreme. They sometimes dive down these crazy rabbit holes, but they do got something right, and they did an undercover video of a woman who was basically ballot harvesting. And what that means, and it's legal in some states, they mail out the ballots, okay, to absentee voters or whatever, and then people come along and they pick up the ballots for drop-off.
Yeah.
Okay? But what this woman was basically doing was looking at her ballot and saying, oh, well, you're registered as this? You know, don't you want to vote here? Don't you want to hear? Let me see your pen. And she's helping her fill this stuff out.
Yes.
So what happens is you mail out these ballots, and a week or two later, you send your people out to go door to door to collect these ballots. And, of course, you do it soon enough after you know they got the ballot. Their ballots may not even be filled out yet.
Yeah, it was happening. It is happening heavily in it was happening heavily in Wisconsin.
Yeah, so then they're like, well, let me help you fill it out. While I'm here, why not? Want to sit down? Want to talk about who do you want for president? Okay. Then they fill in whatever they want.
Yeah.
You want this? You want that? Okay, old lady, it's already been filled out for you. Just go ahead and sign here. Cool.
Sure.
You just got another vote.
I'm not saying it's not possible.
It's possible. Well, we know it happens. It's just hard to prove, and did it change the count? So you got to look at that, right? Because I don't think you had a million people going out and changing 3 votes each.
No.
Okay, so is it enough to actually change? Probably not. Okay, but those are just small examples of what happened, right? The other issue in Pennsylvania was this issue of not allowing Trump campaign members to watch the vote or watch the count. Okay. They were literally removed. They were told they weren't allowed, or they told they had to be 100 yards away. And they're like, no, we want to be right up in there and seeing what you guys are doing. Nope, they weren't allowed. They went and got an emergency protection order or emergency order from a judge saying, no, they need to be in there. Okay, now this is law. This isn't policy. This isn't these guys throwing a fit or anything like that. This is what the law says. Okay, campaign representatives can watch the count.
Yes.
Okay, that's what they can do. They were not allowed to be in there. The judge says, okay, look, you can be in there, but because of COVID, stay 6 feet away. Okay, from 6 feet, you should be able to watch and see what they're doing.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, no problem. They go back, still refuse. Still not allowed to go in there. Which means every vote that was counted that they were not allowed to watch gets thrown out. Every single one.
Does that mean that, or are you saying that should mean that?
No, it does.
Okay.
Okay, that's what Rudy Giuliani was saying. That's what a bunch of others, that's what they're saying. They're like, look, these votes are all going to get thrown out. If you guys don't let us in, we don't care. Okay, we saw videos of them putting up boards and stuff on windows.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Okay. Great idea. Let's have a count. Let's put it in a big room. Let's have big windows. Anybody can come.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania even did like a live stream at one point. Okay, because now you're getting footage all over the internet of people doing shenanigans on a live stream, and people are watching like, well, why is that guy flipping off the ballot? Why is that guy throwing away that ballot?
Yeah.
Why does that lady look like she's filling out ballots right now? You know, there's all sorts of weird stuff going on.
Sure.
But no, this is supposed to be an open thing. And as you said earlier, This should be a bipartisan issue.
Absolutely.
Okay, everybody should want to get down to the bottom of this because if you have any integrity at all, even just a little lick of integrity, okay, you want your guy to win, but you want him to win the right way. If you care anything about this country,
you should.
You should.
But
Okay,
that's not what's going on.
No, because the liberal left. Okay, and shoot, I'm just gonna come out and say it. Democrats, the liberal left and Democrats, their motto is by any means necessary.
Oh yeah, and they've said it several times.
They don't care. As long as they get their way, as long as they get what they think is morally correct, they do not care. They ride the moral high horse, and they will go through any level or any range to get what they think is the right thing to do.
But going back to how this whole thing started, Wisconsin, 200,000 votes. Do I believe that 200,000 people don't give a damn about any other issue other than the president? Absolutely. Look at how heated this particular election has gotten. Mm-hmm. Look how it's no longer about who I think is morally right, who I think is better for the country. It's about personal feelings. It's about personal. It is derangement.
It was straight derangement.
But it's about like, oh well, Biden is the end all, be all, second coming, great white hope of all mankind, or no, Biden is the devil and Trump is the godsend that we need. And it's gotten to this crazy batshit level. Mm-hmm. Where I absolutely 100% believe that there were 200,000 people that didn't give a shit about anything else going on other than who am I voting for president. That's all they cared about. And I believe it.
Not to be a conspiracy guy, but for me it makes more sense that you had 200,000 pre-filled out ballots that you're willing to just dump into the system whenever they're ready to go.
I'm not gonna contest that either.
Yeah, like it's just like, and that's in my theory. That's why you stop. That's why you stop the count. Hey, let's stop counting, everybody. Let's stop right now. Where are we at? How many more votes do we need to make up? All right, bring in those ones. Okay. Now the question is, can you prove it? Because here's the thing: January is coming. January 20th is coming. So if all these allegations are enough, okay. And here's the thing: if we had a popular vote, which I do not condone the idea of a popular vote at all.
Me neither.
Okay.
No, not at all.
If we had a popular vote, okay, it'd be extremely difficult to have voter fraud because you'd have to have a mass organized effort to just flood the system with a bunch of votes.
Yeah.
Okay, and it would have to be in the millions. But we don't. We do electoral college, which means you don't have to have a mass organized effort. You just have to have a mass effort in one county or in one city. I mean, that's what happened in Wisconsin. Okay, you look at the districts, you look at the map breakdown. Mm-hmm. It's pretty much a red state, except for, 2 areas?
You know, the other problem we have is that the states do their own elections differently from state to state to state.
Yes.
Some states use an electoral system within their own state, by county. Others do popular vote within the state. So maybe, not all states do it the same.
So maybe the answer is to do like a universal presidential type vote where it's just a federal guideline saying this is how we're going to do it. And for when it comes to voting for president, it's going to be this way.
Here's a thought, and I know it's unpopular, but you know what would have stopped all of this? Would have stopped every single bit of this, all this conspiracy stuff? Voter ID.
Exactly. Show up in person, present an ID, and vote.
Now, the left likes to talk about how the idea of voter ID is actually racist and classist.
That makes you racist.
Yes, it does. Because, poor people, because, by the way, the left believes that all minorities are poor people can't afford an ID. Okay, fine, then make it free. Give them a free federal voter ID card.
Jeez, give them a ride down to the DMV. I don't care.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm good for that too. I don't know why we have to pay for it.
That's the thing. That's why it becomes racist. Because it's like, really, you think people of color are not capable of going to get their own ID?
Well, it's $35. What if they don't have $35?
This is why there was almost a 30% turnout from the black community for Donald Trump.
Yeah, no shit.
The highest of any Republican in 60 years.
There's actually been several experts that have come out of this, people who, from the black community who are experts in black history who said the worst thing to ever happen to the black community in the United States are white liberals. But all that being aside,
it's condescension.
Fine, well, then you want to nip that issue in the bud? Fine. Then a federal voter ID card that is free. Give one to everybody. As soon as you turn 18, you get, and as long as you're a citizen, of course, oh, wait a minute, you get a federal voter ID card. And that would stop all this. Point is we're getting there.
Okay.
Is it based on, heat? Is that why it, okay.
It's plasma. It's heated plasma.
Yeah, you can hit record now. You guys ready?
No.
I don't know. Now I'm kind of hyped about this real lightsaber thing. So,
Oh,